And I really don't like having to follow a speech like that. But I'm going to. So, we certainly have a lot to think about. And while we are in a very challenging time in our country on many levels, there is a silver lining around this otherwise very dark cloud. And that silver lining, among other things, is that we now recognize that the governance of our country has failed so many of our people, that both major political parties have been co-opted by special interests dominated by large corporations and other concentrated sources of wealth, and that almost half of our voting population would rather vote for Donald Trump, a crude, disrespectful, and I might say unenlightened man, because of his celebrity and Washington outsider status. And with that recognition, we can and must begin the extremely hard but necessary work of changing our political system. How specifically to do that, however, is a topic for another day, and I might add another visit from Michael. There's another deep and pervasive problem, cultural, not political, that I'd like to mention this morning. It's been receiving a lot of attention lately, and it is a problem we can no longer ignore. And that is the sexual harassment and, in many cases, assault conducted by men against women. I think most of us in this room were shocked when the Access Hollywood tape surfaced just before the election. And I know my reaction was, well, this is certainly the last nail in Trump's campaign coffin. Well, we know that it wasn't, and far from it. And starting with the unbelievable story of Harvey Weinstein, in the past several weeks we have heard of literally dozens of high-profile men accused of, and many admitting, their sexual harassment of and or assault against women. The list transcends categories. It consists mostly of highly educated and powerful men, liberals and conservatives, across many industries. And I believe that in the weeks and months to come, there will be an avalanche of additional accusations. So, what does all of this mean? Well, of course, it's complicated in many respects. But it means in part that we have to educate our boys and young men that they have to treat women, and frankly all people, with respect. In so many ways, we have lost that attribute of interaction in our society. It means also that we have to educate adult men that there are clear lines of acceptable behavior that we should not cross in the workplace or otherwise. While we should not have to resort, like Mike Pence has, to refusing to attend, unless accompanied by our wives, any events at which alcohol and women are present, it's a little extreme. How about this? Why don't we simply conduct ourselves in a manner that is respectful to women? Frankly, men know where the line is, but simply choose to ignore it. And that is not acceptable. So here's the commitment I am making this morning. I will continue to be cognizant of the appropriate line of conduct for my own behavior. But as importantly, I will call out transgressions by my friends and associates, and even men I do not know, so that we halt this brotherhood of disrespect, patriarchy, and silence. I will strive to create a safe place for women so that they are no longer fearful of the consequences of speaking up against this kind of behavior. So, I would like to ask each man here this morning who is willing to make the same commitment that I just made to stand up now in solidarity and be recognized. Standing up is both authentic and symbolic. If we are to effect change, we must stand together. And if we stand together and are proactive, we can and will change this cultural deficiency. So thank you for all standing and for being willing to fight this fight. There will be one more thing I ask of you momentarily, so please don't leave. With all of these problems, some might ask, how can we possibly walk out of this room with any hope for the future? Well, I'm optimistic, and I know Michael is. And we are optimistic because as we look around this room, we see so many people who are committed to forging a better future for all of us. Not just for those whose ideologies align with our own, but for everyone. And I know that, just like the people in this room, there are millions and millions across our country who have the same commitment and energy and desire to build a better future for our country and our world. And the Alliance for a Better Utah, like it has for the past 6 years, will continue to be part of the solution. Because of the needs our community has and the role that ABU and all of us here today can play, my business partner and almost lifelong friend, Scott Young, and I have decided again this year to make a matching gift to the Alliance for a Better Utah. Because we know that together we can forge a better future both here in Utah and across the country. So Scott and I are committing to match all contributions made here this morning up to $1 billion. I missed the decimals. It's $10,000. So we urge you all to give what you can to help ABU and all of us to hold our government officials and business and community leaders to a higher standard and to forge a better future for all of us. So you will find on your tables envelopes, and that will accommodate checks, and it will accommodate credit cards, and there will be people walking around watching as you fill them out. Thank you, and thank you for attending.